Welcome, everybody. It's another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, rock and roll Matty Goldberg. What's up, gentlemen?
What's up?
What's up, boys?
Getting to the crunch time of the football season.
The crunchiest of times.
I hope you guys had a good turkey day,
Oh, yeah.
I did.
except for Nebraska on Black Friday.
Jim,
But
what all happened? So you had a Nebraska loss and food poisoning all in the same weekend?
Actually, I found out it wasn't food poisoning. It was like a stomach bug because my girlfriend got it later.
You know,
Well, wouldn't
actually,
it
my
be- what
wife
if
had
you
the
ate the
same
same
thing,
food?
too.
So
Not like she's going to want me talking about this, but yeah.
yeah, we had something kind of going around. One of my cousins got it too.
What if it
Stomach
was
bug.
from the same food, though?
Maddie? I don't think it was because everyone ate like everything, and only like 3 people got sick.
Well, maybe you guys have, wimpy stomachs.
Wow.
Like women's stomachs.
Maybe.
Feminine
That could be
stomach
true.
Jim.
Yeah, I spent like all of Thursday night. I think I threw up like 8 or 9 times.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I was up till 3 in the morning just throwing up. It was
Did you
awesome.
Did you get on the brat diet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'll tell you
celebrated.
this.
I
I'll
just
tell you,
learned
it's
about
good
that
for.
this weekend.
I'll tell you this. It is good for your core. I felt workout in my core the next morning. I was like, oh yeah, my abs
just
are feeling
leaning
it,
over and grunting.
and like crunch, like clenching your stomach when you're doing it.
I hate
Yeah.
throwing up. I hate throwing up.
Maddie, you can't. I'm perfectly fine doing it when I'm drunk, but sick throwing up
Right.
like that is the worst.
It feels so bad. I'd rather poop like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
just
did poop
I
my
don't mind the
pants
actual
twice, too.
vomit. It's just the nauseousness
Say what?
that leads up to it.
Yeah, it's like the build up to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would not
Yeah,
do
Matt-
good on chemo.
Maddie,
Yeah.
because it was like liquid shits. Like
Ugh.
one time when I was throwing up, I shit myself too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those
Yeah.
situations.
man, Nebraska really pissed you off.
Well, that was before Nebraska.
Oh, it was the Dolphins. That's what it was. The
Yeah, it
Dolphins.
was. Dude, I was like trying to watch the game, but I was like sick and terrible. I was listening to it basically. I was laying
They
on my
do
side
not know
trying to
how play
sleep.
in the cold, dude.
No, I just don't think those jerseys play in the cold. I just
Dude, I love it. The funniest thing.
you can put any team in those jerseys, they're not playing in the
We'll
cold.
do college first, but this is what I'll say. It's like yeah, it wasn't the cold. It's just we didn't play physical. We made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, because it was cold.
it's cold out there. Like Green Bay.
It's like you're making excuses for everything that would happen if you're cold.
Yeah,
It
they're-
just
they're
but it
cold.
had
did
nothing
seem
to do
like
with the cold.
funny scheduling too for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you don't really think of the Dolphins as like a Thanksgiving team.
Yeah, but
I
you know
don't.
what? No bull. Listen, man. Here's my thing. What's his face? The coach of the Lions made a point this year. He's like, when they went up and beat Green Bay, and granted it wasn't below 0, but he was like, we'll play you anyway. We'll play in the cold, we'll play, wherever. And this is a game where Miami goes, hey, man, everybody thinks we're a bunch of wimps. Let's go up there and take care of business. And they did everything you expect them to do. And even their coach was like, the louder the haters are going to speak when you keep proving them right.
He was shivering on the sideline.
He looked like miserable.
He looked like he was not having a good
And the
time.
thing is, like, I get you're trying to be tough by wearing a sweatshirt, but you could wear a jacket. Like, I know what you're trying to do, but you look like you're dying out
What
there.
if he was like Brady Hoke out there with no sweater or anything, just fucking
No, he
small
looked a
arms,
mess.
like-
He looked a mess. He looked dying out there.
Well, he went.
But-
Didn't he go to an Ivy League school?
He went to Yale.
Yeah, you go to Yale, so you don't have to deal with shit like that.
Well, Yale's very cold. My
Yeah,
grandmother
but
grew
you're not
up like
forced to
5
stand
minutes.
outside for 3.5 hours.
I would visit my grandma there, and it was cold. It could be cold there.
What year was your grandma attending Yale?
Well, she never went there, but my mother grew up in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh,
So I'd visit there a lot when I was younger.
gotcha.
Like, one of my favorite places to go. I had MTV there. I didn't have it in New York, so like Go in there and watch hours of MTV way before they played shit.
That's fantastic. All right. Let's just get into it.
Let's
jump right in. Let's dive into the slop.
Michigan brought Ohio State to the slop this weekend in a game I was almost not even going to watch.
But Luke, how mad would you have been if you didn't watch it?
Mad. But I'll tell you what, this is the first time in a while that Michigan's had a shit team, and I'm like going into this game. It's funny. It's like playing with house money. You're like, you're expecting to lose, but if they win, it's fucking comical.
You're also, what do you think it's more of? Do you think Ohio State or Michigan?
I think 100% Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, I will say this too. Michigan did finally
played a good game.
They really put things together, even though it was just Northwestern.
And they're getting better.
And their defense, Wink Martindale was finally starting to figure shit out on defense too. Mm-hmm. And they got some beasts up front. That line is great.
The D line is so good.
The D line, and then they got a couple of interceptions too. So then it makes them hesitate on passing a little more too. So, like, they played great, and they did their, and Michigan's offense was just good enough to get a couple of the scores, and they got turnovers and good field position. So,
what does Ryan Day have to do to keep his job?
He's got to win the Natty now.
I was gonna say win a Natty,
which a lot of people still think they can do. They were the favorites going in this weekend to win.
What about losing in the championship game?
What's that?
Does that keep his job?
I think so. I think if he wins a playoff game or two, they'll keep him. I don't know. I just don't know the alternative.
I think he's got to make it to the championship game at least.
So this is the. I would call Michigan this year a bad team. Would you guys overall call this?
Absolutely.
Yes. This is the first bad team that Ryan Day has lost to.
Dude, Jim, you.
No, I get it. I get it.
This goes back to the Nussmeier thing. I saw a video from this dude. Not that we have any pull. I'll give him a shout out. His name is Matt Be Great. He's got great college football videos. And he's like, is Ryan Day a good coach? Yes. Is he a great coach? No. What does Ohio State need? Great coaches. Like, forget about what you do against Northwestern. Forget about what you do about even the mid-tier teams, the Illinois. You're here to win championships. You have a championship roster. Like, you have championship players.
They paid like $20 million for this roster, too.
That's the big thing for me.
So, like, when you're like, well, what do you think Sherrod Moore would beat every team if he was coaching Ohio State? Yeah.
So
the thing, though, too, and the sad reality is that this game is a rivalry game, but it just doesn't mean as much as it used to.
Does.
It does, for fans, but it's also like, no, Ohio State is still going into the college playoffs and determining what happens next week, and they could end up with a bye still. Yeah. So
So Matt, it's not just like the mid teams though, is what I was talking about with Ryan Day and his, like, this is the bad team. So he's 63-10 overall.
Okay.
45-5 in Big Ten play.
Okay.
40% of his losses, so almost half his losses have been Michigan. Like, just losing to Michigan. The other ones are like in the playoffs. I get it, but he's like consistently beating Penn State. He's consistently beating like these like really good teams in conference. I'm not saying whether he should.
Way up here, though.
I'm not saying whether he should or shouldn't be fired. Like, he might want to step away.
Guy made a point that the standard to coach at Ohio State, the coach at Alabama, Georgia, is so high.
The question is, the standard's there. I don't know if you have these psychopath coaches to like hold that standard.
I also, and this is, again, it's a different era with NIL and portal. I don't think you're going to ever see a dominance like Alabama had. No. Like Ohio State, is recruited at a really high level too. So that's why they're always good too.
Yeah.
Like Michigan, who needed years to build up that championship team, then lost all their stars.
I mean, what coach would do any worse than Ryan Day this year?
Lots of coaches. There are lots of coaches who would do worse.
I disagree.
I think there are plenty of coaches out there.
First of all, he should have beat Oregon. He blew that game. Penn State I don't even like Penn State. Penn State are always going to choke. So whatever, screw Penn State. The Michigan is a game you had to win. And not only did you have to win, you had a terrible Michigan team that's rebuilding. You had to blow them out of the gym. Yeah. And you could tell right away that, like, wait a minute, Michigan is hitting them in the mouth. Michigan is beating them up. Michigan is tougher than them. And you could just see it. And they had no adjustments, no game plan, nothing. And then you're going, did they fuck up with the quarterbacks? Is Kyle McCourt, did they fuck up with that guy? They brought in a guy, they downgraded.
Threw for like 345 yards.
He looked great.
Yeah.
He looked great. I don't think he would have changed the game at all. I think I don't think Kyle McCord would have, if he stayed in this system. If he stayed in this system, I doubt he fucking improves that much.
Jim, he threw an interception in the red zone on both sides.
I don't think Kyle McCord would have helped that much.
I really don't know what are we watching here?
Did we see him last year?
He was better.
He was not. He looked awful last year. I think
better.
He would not do that good in this system. I think Kyle McCord's in the perfect spot.
Well, there's less pressure, so there's that. I mean, when you go to Ohio State, granted, yes, you're going with a bigger program where Syracuse, you can have a couple bad games. Nobody gives a shit. Ohio State, everybody watches everything you do. I get that. But who would Ohio State rather have right now?
I don't know if you saw a couple Kyle McCord games this season. He could have easily put some stinkers up.
I don't know why you're making excuses. This is
I'm not,
loss.
Dude. This is a crazy loss. I think the biggest thing for me and the biggest detriment to Ryan Day, I don't remember what year it was. Was it 2021 where Harbaugh called him soft?
Sure.
And then ever since then, they have tried to run down Michigan's throat to win, and they just can't do that.
Well, that's what shocked me because
I don't know why they kept trying to run.
Was right before halftime where they went 4 or 5 wide and they
were doing hurry up,
and then they went right back to running it up the middle with nothing.
I don't get that. When your offensive line is
thought of this game.
Who?
Lou Holtz. Remember when Ryan Day challenged Lou Holtz to a fight last year?
I do.
Even Lou Holtz's corpse would beat up Ryan Day.
I don't understand. You have the best receivers in college football, probably.
Oh, yeah.
The best receiving room. The only Maddie was right. The only time your offense worked is when you were doing a hurry up style, sort of deal. And then when you come back, you keep trying to run it down their throat when your offensive line is terrible.
I don't get it.
And if you're going to run, why run up the middle? Why not try and go to the edges with your Studley run? I don't get it. The game plan was awful. Was awful. Is this the biggest loss in the history of the game? The biggest upset?
I don't know. It's close.
I didn't bet money might have been it was. Yeah, I don't think. Maybe since they said something since
they said 96. They said I heard 96, and then I heard 69 or something like that.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's rare that someone is favored that much in this game. But yeah, it was bad. But I mean, the when they beat him in I think 22, then Ohio State was just a field goal away from basically what they would have won the national championship.
They would have won the Natty that year.
Yeah.
So
it's hilarious.
I don't think Ryan Day gets fired. I think he steps away at the end of the year.
No,
I think he does. I think
you don't step away from that job.
Yeah, he might.
Unless you're fired.
I know, Luke, he steps away.
Right. But
he does have a massive buyout, which I don't think matters to Ohio State a ton, but it is pretty big.
Well, okay.
It's like 40 mil, I think.
I don't know. If they want to get rid of him, they'll get rid of him, I guess. But I don't know. Then all the pressure's on the next coach. Like, I don't know who they would get.
I don't know who you get. I have no idea who you get.
Like they talked about Mike Vrabel.
No shot. No shot Vrabel
What about
does it.
Singini?
Vrabel has like publicly said he hates recruiting.
What about
Singini? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What about the Indiana coach?
Signetti?
Yeah.
I don't know if Ohio State fans would love it.
What about Vanderbilt?
Well, that's the funny thing too, is like
that'd be hilarious.
You replace him with a coach you beat the doors off this year. Already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but what Indiana is doing is the standard of Ohio State on a decent year.
Yeah.
So like
one year
that's the difference.
I think Ohio State fans would want to see more than 1 year at a P4
Yeah, because
school.
he brought all of his boys too, and they also have not. Is Ohio State the only like good team they've played?
They're the only ranked team. I think they might be the only team above 500 that they played.
They lucked out. They don't have to play any other games because it guarantees them in.
The thing is, though, I still believe in Indiana because they did the thing that you're supposed to do against the teams that they played. Like they obliterated everybody.
And I think the lights were just too bright for them in the Ohio State game. I'm not saying they would have won, but I feel like
I do feel like it would have been closer,
tighter.
Yeah. I think starting off like with a fumble punt there, it was
fuck ups. Yeah. We're not ready for that. Where did that coach come from again? Was it JMU?
JMU.
Yeah, and then he brought a lot of his boys with him from there.
My favorite part of the Ohio State Michigan game was the end. It just signified it like set the tone for the day of brawls after every single game.
Flag planting brawls. There's like highlight videos of that all.
Yeah, I watched one set to one shining moment.
So do you think that flag planting will be over? Is that
they've talked? I've heard some people talk about it. That would be. I would hate that.
And who's at fault, Jimbo? Be honest.
Baker Mayfield.
No, I'm saying who's at fault in Michigan, Ohio State?
What do you mean?
Like, who deserves the blame?
Ryan Day deserves the blame.
Yeah.
For losing or not controlling his players.
So are you saying who's in charge of the fight? Who's to blame for the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, the players obviously, and then right. I mean, Ryan Day just looks like he's in over his head almost every time you see him on the sideline.
After that game was so funny because he's just sort of like staring. He's got that 1,000-yard stare, like he's shell shocked. And he's just sort of like they're doing that thing where Ohio State goes to the end zone and sings or whatever the fuck they do. And then he's just kind of like looking around like, what's going on?
It's like his ears are ringing.
Look, he looks like John Travolta after a long night with the boys.
That might not be too far off with Ryan Day and those.
But he does have this weird, like, he almost looks like he's wearing a mask, like he's like in a horror movie. He's got this weird, like, shiny face.
Well, he kind of does. Like, he dyes his beard and he's got like rosacea.
And he doesn't seem like tough. Like, you hear Jim Harbaugh, they're like, he's playing against his brother. He's like, I love my brother, but I ain't letting him win a football game. Like, you're like, that's a man.
I remember the first year he took over and they were doing that pep rally before Michigan. And he's like talking. I'm like, God, this guy sounds like such a pussy. And then they beat Michigan that year pretty well. But
he just doesn't have that energy.
Was that like the COVID year?
No, they didn't play the COVID year.
It was before. It was a year before the COVID year.
Oh, 2019.
They actually didn't play the COVID
year. No, they didn't play the COVID year.
Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan. They haven't beaten Michigan since 2019.
Yeah, but so every flag planting, we saw a brawl break out this year.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then also one game didn't even have that. BYU Houston just had a brawl during the game. It was great. It set the tone for the whole day. I'm telling you, like every team was just feeling it. My favorite one was Arizona State. I think the Trident was a nice touch.
Yeah. Oh, that's even cooler. It was funny though too, because then people were trying to grab the Triton. They're like, no, it's my Triton. Oh, I think it was like one of the like some big Samoan dude with it.
It was a D lineman for Arizona State.
Yeah, and he's just laughing at these small guys trying to grab the Triton. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I think it's part of the game. If you got rid of like field storming and flag,
it's part of what makes college football great. It
really is. The pros don't even have that kind of shit. They don't have flags and flag planting. And
I was gonna say, like, if they get rid of flag planting, get rid of storming the field, they're just trying to make it more NFL light, and I really don't want that.
Oh, they can't have brawls every time this happens too, though. That's the other thing. Like,
well, Maddie, there's an easy way to stop the flag from being planted and stop the brawl altogether. Is just win the game.
Yeah, that's it.
It's an easy way to stop it.
That is very true. And you're a 20-point
forced
favorite.
To stand there in midfield.
When you're a 20-point favorite, you have no excuse.
Either that or go back in time and make it so Baker Mayfield never plants that flag.
Yeah.
Well, Texas planted the one on Michigan this year, and nobody did. Like, it wasn't even reported. It just
right. It was like whatever.
Nobody cared.
Well, I think it's different if it's like your rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I don't know. So did Texas do that to A&M this year?
They were about to. They were gonna do it, and then Steve Sarkisian was like running on the field telling him to go back.
and he's right, because it's like, why you're gonna get your players suspended, somebody's gonna get in a fight, I
don't think anyone's gotten suspended.
Well, you never know what could happen. Somebody will do something stupid and they will get suspended, and then
fair.
Well, let's wait for that to happen then first.
Not worth it when you're the number 1 team in the country, or number 2 team in the country.
There you go, number 2. Don't forget, there's only one undefeated team, Maddie.
Oregon Ducks. Quack.
Is Oregon better now than they were when they played Ohio State, you think?
I think, well, now they're after Ohio State for a good while, they went until they went a long time without a bye. So they're kind of getting healthy again. They're feeling good. I think maybe not better, but at least at the same level. I think Oregon has kind of maintained like a very good level since their first 3-week stretch.
Okay.
And they've just been like killing it.
Yeah, I was
they put it on Washington. They put it on him. Like, that was Dan Lanning.
Washington's not good.
I know, but that was like Dan Lanning exercising some demons, because he was 0-3 against Washington before that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Yeah, they played like 2-3 times last year.
They played twice last year, and then they played once in his first year. And yeah, he was exercising some demons, laying it on him. Just like Indiana over Purdue. Kurt Signetti was putting it on him. 66-0.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, Purdue's coach got fired, right?
Yeah, Ryan Walters definitely got fired. He wouldn't make it. He would not make a bad DC somewhere, I think. I think he'd be all right as a DC. That's what he was doing at Illinois before head coach at Purdue, and he was pretty good.
I feel for him. I don't know if he's got any roster,
That's like the worst P4 team in the country.
Yeah. And they just get whipped every week.
They were awful.
Yeah. How many years has he been there? 2-3 years now?
I think this was year 2, I think. 2 or 3.
They might give him another year.
Oh, this was year. No, they fired the fuck out of him. He's already fired, Maddie.
Okay.
They should have paid that guy that went to Louisville.
Matt Brown got fired.
Matt Brown got pre-fired.
He
was fired. He was fired before this game.
He should get.
I think that was one of those stepping away things.
He's retired.
Oh no, they actually did straight fire him and let him coach the last game.
That was very kind.
Yeah,
he's an ambassador of college football.
He was saying he wanted to. He was sounding pretty pissed off about it. He wanted to announce after this game he was stepping away.
Well, whatever.
So they're like, no, just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because he's not even coaching in the bowl game.
Oh, they made a bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's shitty. Why not let him just coach the bowl game?
I think they made a bowl game, didn't they?
I don't know. They had a bad year.
Let's see.
They had a bad year, but not a terrible year. Like,
did you guys
Maddie, they went 6-6.
Yeah, I didn't say Oklahoma State had a bad year.
Oklahoma State had a terrible year.
You think Gunman's actually going to be on the hot seat?
Florida State had a bad year.
Gundy always does this shit. I don't know if he can get away with another. You can't get away with back-to-back bad years. So he's got to show. He's got to have like a really good year next year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma is on the rise now too, maybe. But even though they didn't like
their defense was like really, really good for like a good chunk of the season, but they still, I don't think they ever really figured out offense. It never figured at any point in the season.
A new coordinator.
They did. I forget who they hired because this is like coach moving all over time.
Yeah, Michigan just fired their offensive coordinator,
Arbuckle from Washington State.
Yes. Okay.
What do you guys think of the 12 right now? And can Ole Miss or South Carolina made a really nice push at the end of the year can either one of those teams get in? It seems like they're going to need a lot of help.
It's Bama, dude. If they're going to push any team in, it's going to be Bama.
What about the U?
I think the way that they have
Bama's in right now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, but if Boise State loses, somebody new is coming in.
Yeah, but there still has to be one group of 5 team, Maddie. If Boise State loses, then UNLV's in.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's the winner of the Mountain West gets it. One group of 5.
I didn't know Mountain West has to get in.
No, it's a group of 5 team has to get in. So either the Mountain West or AAC. But since Tulane lost to Memphis on Thanksgiving, Tulane's going to be ranked below both UNLV and Boise State. So it's the winner. It's the winner of the Mountain West gets in.
Ole Miss is out. South Carolina's out.
Miami's out.
Okay, Bama's looking in.
Actually, no. I'm sorry, Boise State's. Miami is out because you got to factor in the Big 12 teams of Arizona State and Iowa State hanging around at 15 and 16.
Mario Cristobal blew it at the end.
It's crazy to me that they kicked that field goal.
I love what Syracuse.
Why did they kick that field goal?
I didn't watch the game. I just saw the
Miami gets up to like a 21-0 lead.
Yeah.
Syracuse like claws their way back, and then the second half starts. They're just trading touchdowns back and forth, just touchdown. Both defenses look atrocious. Miami gets down the field. It's like 4th and goal, but I get it. It's from like the 8-yard line or something like that. But they kick a field goal. I don't understand. You're trading touchdowns. Your defense can't stop anything. Why kick a field goal?
The U are the U.
I think Mario Cristobal is like one of the worst game managing coaches ever.
They would have been 500 without Cam Ward.
They would have.
And they didn't look good all year. I mean,
no, they really didn't.
Remember, we were always like every game it looked like they were going to lose, and then they finally lost. And then losing.
Black Friday night, Georgia Tech was an absolute classic. Where I'm just like, fucking Georgia Tech, just fucking put these guys to bed.
I know.
I wish they would have gone for 2 at the first overtime.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was one of those crazy, like a baseball game where an extra innings, nobody can score unless the other team scores.
I'm trying to remember what happened when, but didn't they fumbled at the end of regulation, essentially, right? When they were marching down the field.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I was surprised, but they hung with it though. I thought they would just fold over after that.
Wow.
But
dude,
Haynes King he put his body and like soul out there.
You can't fumble. That was a horrible fumble.
Do you guys like? I miss the old overtime for college football. I don't know if I like these penalty shoot deal.
Well, it's just it has to end at some point.
No. Like
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But also,
I didn't like Kirby calling a timeout every time.
Yeah. Well, that extended.
There were so many fucking commercials, dude.
Yeah. But it was great last Saturday.
It was. It was fantastic.
It was phenomenal.
It was like must see television Friday, Saturday. No doubt about it.
Who do you think is really going to benefit this coming weekend in the championship?
Notre Dame.
Okay. Notre
Dame will be potentially in the 5 spot unless Oregon loses. If Oregon loses, I think they're going to slot them in at 5.
Okay.
Alabama wins because Alabama, from not having to play in the SEC championship game, I saw the committee when they were talking. They are saying and potentially like putting themselves in the position if SMU loses, they're out. is what they were kind of potentially like vying for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
which I think is horseshit. I think it's horseshit. Why play the game? If Alabama gets to slide in at 3 losses, what's the point?
What's Bama's biggest win this year? Well, they
Georgia.
Did Georgia.
It's Georgia.
Okay, so
like they have some good wins, but they have like some real bad losses.
Yeah.
That Vandy loss and that Oklahoma loss are really bad.
Yeah.
I would give it to South Carolina or Clemson. I
might give it to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
I'd give it to Ole Miss over Bama.
They're like going to give it to Georgia and Alabama because of their reputation.
Well, Georgia's like locked in. Georgia's for sure in. I think they're not gonna,
even if they lose.
Yeah, I think because the committee loves the Big Ten and the SEC so much, I think they're not gonna punish the loser of those conference championship games. I think what will happen is Georgia won't get like a home playoff game. They lose, they probably have to go on the road somewhere. Like if Penn State loses, they might have to go on the road somewhere.
Well, that's when Ohio State moves up.
Yeah,
I think Ohio State's going to move way back up.
That's when Ohio State moves. Like Ohio State right now, they're in the 6th spot. They haven't fallen super far.
Right?
They probably stick around there.
Because
you have your top. I'm going by seeding. So like your top 4 are the conference champions.
Right.
So you'll have like Oregon, Texas, maybe Boise State or SMU, and maybe Boise State, Arizona State, one of those teams.
And who all gets a bye the first round?
Just the 4 conference champions.
Okay. So
it's just
Ohio State will probably be hosting whomever.
So if Ohio State stays at the 6th spot, they'd be hosting number 11. So if everything lines up like how it is here, which it obviously won't, they would be hosting Alabama, theoretically.
Oh, that'd be fun, though.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
But also, I just don't think Bama should get in. I'd put Miami or Ole Miss above Alabama, but whatever.
Right. I think it's fun because I think Bama could beat them.
That's like the thing, though. I was like, Bama could beat a bunch of people, and they're always going to find a way to get Bama in the playoffs. They will always find a way to get that.
We'll see if they have keep having years like this. Then at some point they're going to say, "Okay, you're not Nick Saban Bama anymore," and fuck you. Shout
out Illinois getting top 21 right there. I'd put Illinois above Missouri.
All right.
Did you see Brett Bielema's tweet? Because Lane Kiffin's trying to vie Ole Miss for the playoffs and whatnot. It's like, well, we had this tough strength of schedule. We had these quality losses. Well, Brett Bielema was like, well, guess what? We had the toughest strength of schedule in the country, and we barely lost to Penn State. We barely lost to Oregon.
Right.
Wow.
Their worst losses. They could have easily been 10-2. That loss to Minnesota hurts, and it's a 6-6 Minnesota team. But Minnesota had a very weird season.
Very good.
I was going to say Minnesota. If you guys watched a bunch of their games, Minnesota could have easily have been 10-2, 11-1.
Yep. They played very good. They could have been Indiana in their own way.
Who was your guys' biggest letdown and surprise of the season?
Biggest letdown is probably Florida State. Biggest surprise, obviously, Indiana. Ohio State's a huge letdown too, And I'm gonna say Oregon because Oregon, did you say
Oregon letdown?
No, I said surprise.
Oh, okay. I thought you
because even to go undefeated, it's hard.
They're the only one.
Yeah. So they're a surprise, but letdown Ohio State, Florida State. And then Indiana, you got to say, and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, you're just used to them getting their ass kicked.
I was going to say, Arizona, Indiana, Arizona State. Arizona State was picked last in the Big 12 this year, preseason.
Wow. Yeah.
Killing it. Biggest disappointment for me, obviously, Florida State. Biggest surprise was Indiana, ASU. Honestly, I think SMU coming in and doing what they did to the ACC in year 1 was kind of surprising.
How many games did Florida State win this year?
2. If you want to count FBS opponents, 1.
What's his excuse? What happened?
I don't know, dude. They just fell apart. They're getting recruits though, and they got Gus Malzahn as the OC now. He left UCF. They got Nebraska's defensive coordinator. They took Tony White from Nebraska.
How long until we see Gus Malzahn like hanging on for his job year after year after? That's kind of how he was at Auburn all the time.
I think people next year's the break it year for Mike Norvell at FSU.
Yeah.
He'll get one more shot.
He'll definitely. I think you buy yourself some goodwill when you have an undefeated season.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, it sucks that they did so well last year and then just fell off of it's one thing to have a rebuilding year. It's another thing to like, what the fuck?
I think like partway through they just gave up. They were playing like the 2s and 3s all year. It was just people getting tired. It was weird.
Yeah, SMU though. I mean, this is their first year in the conference.
Yep, first year in the ACC.
Very good job.
Yeah.
Shout out Rhett Lashley.
Shout out Rick Lashley. Better than Rick Astley.
Shout out Bobby Lashley.
Give you up. Gonna let you down. Say goodnight.
All right. Well, I can't wait for this weekend. I think it's gonna be fun, and then
a lot of good games.
It's gonna be real
looking forward to the playoffs.
I am.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Some people are just like, it's a whole new thing, and they're like,
dude,
I'm pissed off. Mismatches at least in the first round.
I hate the committee. Like, don't get me wrong. I still hate the committee.
Sure.
I'll always probably hate the committee, but I'm excited for the playoff, especially the first round where you get to see them at home stadiums.
Yeah.
Like, those matchups will be sick.
No, it's going to be insane.
If we get lucky and a team has to go to Indiana, or like, realistically though, like say Bama sneaks in. So what I've seen a lot of projections is in the first round, what I've seen for projections is Bama at Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame would like to get a little revenge for that playoff.
They've looked pretty good.
Notre Dame look good, but if you're that schedule though,
USC's offense put up a lot of yards.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure, that's fine. I know. It's just like, okay, you beat a shit USC team. I don't know. I just that schedule, dude. Sorry. If you want to keep playing the armed forces, even though some of them had a couple good, had a good year.
Yeah, and Notre Dame's their schedule was weak, but they, except for the one game that they blew, they took care of business. So, but
I'll look forward to seeing them in the playoffs and see how they actually do stack.
You can't really know who they are.
Their best wins were like
championship game either. Like, if you could play the schedule every year, you would be in every fucking year.
See, that's Notre Dame. They get to basically be in all the time, but they will never get a bye.
Okay, no, that's true. Yeah.
So it's like it's their trade off, I guess.
Right. Well,
they never get a bye.
So fucks that don't want to share any money. I don't know. I hope they get their asses beat. I don't know if they will. I don't know. Again, I have no idea how good.
They've been kind of fun. I'm not rooting for them. Obviously, I'm going to root for Indiana, SMU and Boise to just run the table.
That would be awesome.
Well, I hope SMU beats Clemson. I hate Clemson. I'm not a Kubiak fan or whatever the fuck his name is. He's overrated.
You've been on his ass all season, man.
He's another guy that you can go, well, look at his numbers. I'm like, yeah, well. He beats up against bad teams. He doesn't have any signature wins against good teams. So I hope they lose to SMU. But they're still Clemson. But it was fun to see South Carolina beat them. I had South Carolina money line.
Yeah,
really love that.
Nice. I like Shane Beamer's dad a lot.
Yeah, he's a good coach. He's a very good coach.
All right, you guys want to talk some pros?
Let's talk to pros.
It was a long week. Got started on Thanksgiving Day. And finally, Eberflus has been fired due to his complete debacle.
Is this the first time the coaches have fired someone mid-season?
The Bears have, yeah.
Sorry, the Bears.
It was the first time in 100. Well, apparently George Halas had to leave to go fight in the Army during World War II.
That doesn't count.
Or something.
Horrible coaching by Matt Eberflus. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, why isn't he calling timeout? I've never saw anything so stupid. And then to go up and then say we did the right thing. Every coach goes up there and says it's on me.
Yeah.
Even when it's not on them, they put it on them. And he was like, "Yeah, we did the right thing." You're like, "What?"
No,
I knew Maddie. I could tell what Maddie was thinking at that moment.
I was
Caleb
like,
Williams, like,
he's
just
done.
audible because he's like, we're out of time. I'm just going to go for it, at the end
It's
here.
crazy.
And he's just a rookie, so like,
yeah.
I didn't think the Lions played a great game, but then I'm like,
they are
win
hurt
every game like this. So
their defense is
their defense got beat up, but and then Jameson Williams with like, that's not a championship team when you make stupid penalties like that and you throw the ball in a guy's face and cost your team 15 yards.
Well, he's just trying to not be on the field,
I guess so.
Between his
gun
charges and steroids and gambling. It's too bad too, because that guy's going to be up for a huge contract at some point here.
So immature, so much talent.
No,
was he the one that did the TikTok too, where it showed like their?
No, that's Schuster, I think.
No, that was Gibbs.
Oh, that was Gibbs. Gibbs.
But that's how Thanksgiving started. Then the Cowboys beat the bad Giants. Then the
that one.
That one was the hot. Like that one was more people watched that than watched the Lions Bears.
Yeah,
Can you believe that? Like, you couldn't have paid me to watch that fucking game.
Well, I watch every game, so it doesn't matter. And then Sunday, a lot of good games. The Eagles are now a threat. The Eagles and the Lions are headed for a collision course.
Yeah.
The Chiefs barely won like they usually do. They find ways to win.
They have something. They got some weird horseshoe.
Bills. The Bills were so fun to watch this weekend, and the Vikings squeaked one out. The Jets did what the Jets do all season. Just fucking.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the Jets even want Aaron Rodgers back next year?
I don't think so. It sounds like they don't.
And I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to be back.
I mean, look what he's done there. In 2 seasons, they had a better year with Zach Wilson as quarterback, and the coach is fired and the GM is fired. So when that happens. I mean, what do you say? Yeah, like I'm a big Brady guy. He went to Tampa Bay. They put a ring. They had 3 division champs and 5 playoff wins. So, I mean, and it's sad because Rodgers has more talent than Brady, but.
And this is not a good quarterback class either for coming out of college.
We got to say Nix is like on the heels of Daniels for Rookie of the Year. And Bo Nix has just been amazing.
No, I'm going to stop. Brock Bowers has got to be. Like,
he's got to be like up there.
That's what I saw this great thing. The guy's like, look, either give it to Brock Bowers and call it Rookie of the Year, or change the name to Quarterback Beat Expectations this year award.
Well, that's the thing. It's so hard for a rookie quarterback to.
Dude, but Brock Bowers is like the 4th leading receiver in the league.
I have in fantasy, and let me tell you, I love the guy.
He's a freak.
He's going to beat, like, as a tight end, he's going to beat Puka Nakua's rookie record for receiving yards. He's the best tight end in the league right now already. Like, it's insane. So I don't know. It's got to be him. But as far as the QBs go, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
You got to believe for the QBs.
I think it will still be Daniels, but they usually.
If Daniels has like a nice little latter bit to the season, he could obviously get it back in.
It's we're really looking like the 4 best teams are Detroit, Philly, Kansas City, Buffalo rematch. In a few weeks, we're going to see Detroit versus Buffalo. That's going to be a lot of fun, and it's just like Detroit has no room to breathe because Minnesota is down their neck and Green Bay is right in there and like
big game this week. Big game this week.
Tough fucking game. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay wins.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to beat the same team twice, especially when the other team's good.
Yes, very hard.
It's
also very hard when you've won 8 games in a row.
Lions could easily, in a matter of a few weeks, go from like the number 1 seed to like the 4th seed or something. It just depends.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. They just got to get their defense healthy as much as they're going to be, because I think their defense now is not going to cut it. So we'll see.
No, they need to get healthy.
You guys see the Bills Mafia went too far?
I did. I saw this on Instagram a little bit too. Someone posted something.
They apparently some kid, some 8-year-old cancer survivors, beat cancer twice, was a fan of the Niners and was at the in Buffalo for the game, and someone just like a Bills fan just pushed her over, like just to get her out of the way. So like it was fucking insane. And like here she is, she's holding up a sign, "I beat cancer. This is my first game at the NFL," and some Bills Mafia member just plows her over. So I don't know.
Bills Mafia, they don't care, dude. They do not care. They'll come at anybody.
Do you think they'll disown this guy, or do they think that he should have grabbed her and put her through a table?
Ooh, that actually, okay, if she did that, I think people would have been championing it. I would have been championing it. I would have been like, because that's like a sign of respect in Bills Mafia.
I know, but I don't know. I wonder how many cancer patients have been through the table.
You need a cancer table. That's a little bit easier to break.
Yeah. Did you guys see there was a death in college football?
Yeah.
It actually got reported too early before the family was notified. This poor guy from Alabama A&M went into a coma after a hit on the field, and then ended up dying from complications of that head injury.
Luke, did you see the art? I think he's still alive.
No, there was like, oh wait, that's the one I linked, but okay, so what happened?
The Alabama A&M guy is still alive.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, was there a different one?
No. I mean, there was a coach died. Like
no, but there was, okay, he has been reported dead.
Yes.
No, okay, no, here's the deal. So what happened was the school released that he was dead before the family was notified. So then they backtracked on it. And then like a day later, it came out that he was dead.
What?
Like, no, they completely fucked it up. Alabama A&M football star Medrick Burnett Jr. dies 2 days after premature death report.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No, not only is this guy, his poor family has to deal with this shit.
That's crazy.
That's fucked. That is fucked.
How the fuck do you do that as a school? Do the parents get anything from that?
I don't know. And like they charge people money to educate them, and they can't even get a death announcement right.
I don't know.
Maddie, what do you think?
I don't get into these stories.
You're just an
I'm
X's
into
and
the
O's
X's
guy.
and O's. I deal with the X's.
Okay, then you probably won't care about my next story.
Yeah. Probably
You
not.
ever heard of a guy named Lemmy Kilmeister?
Of Motorhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about it? Did he
Well,
play
this is some positive
football?
news. He's been returned home. The rock legend's ashes have been returned or are now at his favorite strip club.
Nice.
Gonna be
Is that
buried
in
in the
LA,
floor
the
there.
Rainbow Room?
No, it's called Stringfellow. What the fuck is this name of
The
this place?
Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stringfellows nightclub.
Stringfellows
Nice.
nightclub in London. It was opened by Peter Stringfellow in 1980.
I know Peter.
How do you know Peter?
No, I don't know Peter.
Oh, Pete. Yeah.
He used to play for the Expos.
So there is, okay, so it's a copy of his ashes going there, and there are copies containing his ashes at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in West Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where that's where he loved to hang out. That was a spot.
No, I think there's a statue of him there.
When girls would give him oral sex underneath the the table.
No, I was hanging out there last Christmas because my friends had an apartment there we were staying in. And I saw a girl get fingered by Ron Jeremy there too.
Nice.
Nice.
It was disgusting.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, I wanted to shower after seeing that. She's like, "Oh my God, is that?" She was like visiting from Seattle. She's like, "Oh my God, is that Ron Jeremy?" And I go, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's one dude I just used to see all over LA." And then I went out to have a cigarette. I came back in and I see Ron Jeremy standing next to her, and then I see his hand up her skirt, and she's just sort of like writhing around.
Ew.
I'm like, "Oh, he is finger fucking Sally right now." That's it.
Well, there you go.
All right, guys. Anything to add before we mosey on out of here?
No,
I have a sad note, but that's about it.
Sad me up.
Give us the sad news.
Oh, it was rest in peace, Dana Dimmel.
What the fuck is that?
Matty, he was a head coach in college football for a while. He was an OC at Kansas State. He coached at UTEP for a minute. He was most recently an assistant over at Illinois. He's been in the space for a while. He was 62.
62, that's young. What did he die of?
They just said he died in his sleep like last night.
Jesus.
Wow. Was he still on a staff somewhere?
Yeah, he was an assistant. He was an O-line assistant coach on the Illinois.
Oh, well, he
God, life is precious, boys.
It is. Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Life is
That's the way everybody wants to go, just in their sleep, though, right?
I think that'd be the way to do it.
I guess.
Also, just brace for the coaching moves and transfer portal news every day, all day in college football.
Well,
Miller Moss already entered the draft.
We already signed him, Matty, 2-year deal.
Good.
Portal. Who did you sign?
Get that visor.
Dana, we got Dana. We signed Dana Holgerson to a 2-year deal.
Get that Nebraska visor.
And now we just need to find a new defensive coordinator because ours left for Florida State.
That's bullshit. Well, maybe someone better will be available.
I want Jim Leonard so bad. Where's Jim Leonard now? I think he's with the Bears right now.
He used to be a good safety on the Jets.
He was a great DC at Wisconsin for a long time.
Good football player, too.
He is currently with the...
They say Rex Ryan might be the coach of the Jets next year. I wouldn't be surprised. He's one of his favorite players. I wouldn't be surprised if they hired him as defensive coordinator if Rex Ryan gets the job at the Jets next year.
He's a DB coach with Denver with the Broncos. So if we can hire him as DC, I would.
Good player, though. Good coach, good player, good guy.
Love it.
By the way, when Dan Campbell's like, we're going to win in the cold, he's a lot more intimidating than Mike McDaniel. I'm looking at him right now. I'm like,
yeah, he's a way more intimidating person.
Mike McDaniel's going to survive as a head coach.
We'll give him one more year.
I think so.
One more year. But you know what's sad about him is he was a fun, colorful guy. When you're losing, it's the sense of humor is all sucked out of you. It's like your colorfulness. Once you start losing, you're not as colorful.
It's like those guys that have those funny outfits for the post game, but then you don't see them when they lose.
No.
So. No, I get it. It sucks. He's funny, man, but
yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. I don't know. I just don't see that team. Just is all.
Yeah, they've underachieved for what they started out with, the last few years, the beginning of the year, and just that they've declined. But yeah.
Do you think Kyle Shanahan's in jeopardy?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
It's just a terrible year of injuries.
Yeah.
If his job was in jeopardy, there'd be hundreds of teams. There'd be 7 teams lining up to get his service.
No, I agree. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league for sure. But
you don't think the Jets or even the Dolphins or the Saints would be like,
I think so many teams would go for him.
Yeah. College too. You don't think Ohio State would make a pull for him?
That would suck. Let's not talk about that.
All right, boys.
All right. Let's get out of here. We're past our bedtimes.
All right. Be good.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time for another exciting edition of Sports Hole.
Sports Hole.